It's significantly lighter, weighing under 40 pounds with its tripod, can fire up to 650 rounds per minute, and features enhancements like quick change barrels for sustained fire. The M240's versatility allows it to be mounted on vehicles, aircraft, and tripod, fulfilling a variety of roles from infantry support to area defense, showcasing the continued evolution of the machine gun from its World War I origins. At this time, the host of today's ceremony, Major General Tooley, accompanied by Command Sergeant Major Haight, Colonel Evans, and Command Sergeant Major Arguello, conduct the official casing of the Fort Moore Garrison colors for the last time and the uncasing of the Fort Benning Garrison colors. The very heart of a unit is symbolized by the colors under which the troops fight. The colors stand as a silent reminder of the past glories and traditions, lend inspiration for present endeavors, and shine like a guiding beacon into the future. The essence of the casing and uncasing ceremony is an event marked by tradition, honor, respect, and sacrifice. Tradition holds that the colors lead the unit into battle, emphasized by the regulation containing instructions to color bearers, which states, "When in action, resolve not to part with the colors, but with your life." Just like the casing, the uncasing ceremony is a simple event, rich with tradition and heritage. It defines a point in time to commemorate the beginning or continuation of a unit's history and lineage by carrying on the finest of traditions of the United States Army. The Fort Benning Garrison colors consist of the Installation Management Command distinctive unit insignia and the Fort Benning scroll. These colors represent the pride and the spirit of the soldiers and civilians who serve under them, providing sustainment, support services, and base protection, ultimately empowering a high quality of life for those who live, work, and rely on the installation and this community. A ready soldier has a ready home front. Effective 3 March 2025, Fort Moore was redesignated as Fort Benning in accordance with the Secretary of Defense, Title 10, United States Code, Section 113. Today, 16 April 2025, we ceremoniously redesignate Fort Benning in honor of Sergeant Fred G. Benning, who served his nation with extraordinary heroism during World War I and in recognition of the installation's celebrated history of service to the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the Commanding General of the Maneuver Center of Excellence and Fort Benning, Major General Colin P. Tooley. What's going over there?
Switch. Okay, for the record, I was not lost. I knew exactly where I was going. I knew I wanted to come over here to this microphone, so let it be said. Okay. Hey, thanks, everybody. I tell you, it is great to have everyone here at Fort Benning and for the renaming ceremony. This is a significant event, and I'd like to thank everyone that is here today for coming out. We have our civic and community leaders. We have, as well, many, many veterans are here in the crowd today. And I'd like to thank all of you for your continued support to Fort Benning, to the soldiers, and to the families. The partnership here at Fort Benning with our surrounding Chattahoochee Valley has been so very important to the success of our mission. And on behalf of the entire command, I also want to extend a heartfelt thanks to the Benning family. And I know Sue's not going to like this, but I'm going to have Sue, Danielle, and Kate, if you guys could all stand up. This is Sue, raise your hand. Granddaughter to Sergeant Benning. Danielle, the great-granddaughter, and little Princess Kate, the great-great-granddaughter to Sergeant Benning. How about an applause for them? They and their families and friends have traveled a long way to get here. They all came from Neely, Nebraska to honor the legacy of Sergeant Frederick Benning. Your participation in this next chapter of joining the Benning family, sharing and joining the Fort Benning family, and sharing your memories with us of who Sergeant Benning was is truly appreciated. It brings such a warmth and a spirit to this ceremony. Sue, as we dove into your grandfather's history, we really found out a lot about him and his values. Several defining qualities shone through. Sergeant Frederick Benning was not only a skilled leader, rapidly ascending the ranks thanks to his expertise, but also as an NCO who was skilled both tactically and technically. He understood the vital role of emerging technology within his machine gun platoon, and he used that knowledge to accomplish his mission. Yet, what sets him apart was his unwavering dedication to his soldiers, his understanding of the soldiers' needs. He understood that his leadership was critical to mission success. Sergeant Benning's legacy extends far beyond his own actions on that battlefield. He embodies the very spirit we strive to cultivate here at Fort Benning. That spirit, one of dedication, courage, leadership, is reflected here at Fort Benning in our three tenets: people, leaders, and transformation. Sergeant Benning's life exemplifies the very essence of these principles, serving as a timeless reminder for all of us. You heard earlier, but Fred Benning's story began back in 1900, where he was born in a small town in Norfolk, Nebraska. But like many who joined this service today, he had a humble upbringing. He learned the value of hard work as a young teenager, rising up every morning before dawn or sunrise, rising up and working at a bakery. That type of work ethic is what instilled in him the will and the desire to serve his nation. At the age of 17, less than 2 weeks after the nation declared war on Germany, he enlisted in the United States Army as an infantryman. Pretty fitting, as a baker, he became what we call affectionately a doughboy, which is a popular nickname for those who went to fight in the war to end all wars, World War I. 2 short months later, then Private Benning found himself crossing the Atlantic on a troop ship bound for France. Though the year was 1917 and the destination different, that swift transition from civilian life to a soldier is very familiar to what we see here. You're going from a familiar lifestyle to an unfamiliar one. And that is what we see with the men and women who come through Fort Benning as a transition to becoming soldiers in our Army. Fred was just a teenager, barely a man. Yet within a year, he was promoted to corporal, leading a machine gun team into the crucible of battle. Imagine this. 1st Division landed in France in July 1917 without a single machine gun. After getting issued his Hotchkiss machine gun and about 3 months of training, Corporal Benning in 1st Division entered the war. During his time on the front, he was credited for participation in over 9 different battles and campaigns, a true testament of his courage and dedication. After the armistice on November 11, 1918, now Sergeant Benning marched with his fellow machine gunners to occupy a portion of the Rhine River Valley inside Germany. Next, they returned home back in the summer of 1919. Fred and his doughboy veteran brother, Henry, completed their time in the Army and now operated a bakery in the post-war period. But Fred's sense of duty wasn't over. It didn't end on the battlefield. He married in 1926, and he continued to serve his community. Becoming the mayor of Neely in 1948, he was the pillar of the community. Active with the Red Cross, also the commander of the local Veterans of Foreign Wars, Fred truly embodied a life dedicated to selfless service to his nation, to his community, and his fellow veterans. Finally, he hung up the apron at the age of 65. He retired, his life a testament to hard work, courage, and unwavering dedication. He passed away in 1974, leaving behind a legacy that will continue to inspire future soldiers for generations to come. As you can see, Sergeant Benning exemplified the very essence of taking care of people through effective leadership both on and off the battlefield. And so too, we strive to instill those same qualities of Sergeant Benning here at Fort Benning, at the Maneuver Center of Excellence. Forging exceptional leaders is at the very heart of what we do. Each year, thousands of leaders, young leaders, come through here and graduate, only to go out and serve and lead in our Army. Yet, as then Corporal Benning learned in the crucible of war, and as countless leaders have discovered before and since, the mantle of leadership is often thrust upon us when we least expect it, during the most challenging of circumstances. On October 9th, 1918, during the Meuse-Argonne offensive, Sergeant Benning and the 1st Division launched a critical attack on Hill 240, just north of Exermont, France. This vital position, situated on the boundary between 1st and 5th Corps, held immense importance for the outcome of the battle. As the 1st Division charged forward, tragedy struck the machine gun company of 16th Infantry Regiment. Their platoon leader, the young Reggie Young, was killed right at the beginning of the attack. Both of the sergeants in his platoon were wounded and incapacitated. Then, their company commander was killed, Lieutenant Eldon Betts. In a blink of an eye, amidst the chaos and carnage, platoon leadership fell upon the shoulders of a young 18-year-old Corporal Benning. With the weight of 20 lives depending on him as a leader, he rallied his machine gunners. They pushed forward a tide of determination against an onslaught of German Maxim machine gun fire. Reaching the slopes of Hill 240, they set up their Hotchkiss guns, their fire providing the vital support as the 16th and 18th Infantry Regiments surged forward to secure a hard-fought victory. Benning's courage under fire, his unwavering leadership in the face of unimaginable loss, did not go unnoticed. 15 days later, on the eve of the final battle of that war, he was promoted as sergeant. He led his section into the final days of the Meuse-Argonne offensive, joining over 1 million American doughboys in the largest battle of our nation's history, a battle that would ultimately break the German Kaiser Army. That was over 100 days, September 26th of 1918 to the armistice of November 11th. Over 1.2 million soldiers, sailors, and Marines fought in that battle. Over 800,000 French soldiers participated in it. In recognition of his bravery and leadership, Benning received the Distinguished Service Cross. His citation reads as follows, and I quote, "The President of the United States of America takes pleasure in presenting this Distinguished Service Cross to Corporal Fred Benning, United States Army, for extraordinary heroism in action while serving with Machine Gun Company 16th Infantry Regiment 1st Division, American Expeditionary Forces, 9 October 1918. After his platoon commander had been killed and 2 non-commissioned officers disabled, Corporal Benning took command of that platoon. And by his leadership and by his courage, he conducted it through heavy fire to its assigned position on Hill 240." End of quote. But like Sergeant Benning, leadership in the 21st century demands more than just a tactical prowess. It requires an ability to adapt, innovate, and transform alongside an ever-changing world, which is why here our final tenet at Fort Benning is transformation. As a Maneuver Center of Excellence, we are charged with driving innovation and adaptation across our maneuver force. This means embracing emerging technologies like small unmanned aerial systems, electronic warfare, artificial intelligence, and robotic systems. Right now, we are working tirelessly to understand how these advancements will redefine the way in which we train, in which we fight, and how we win on future battlefields. Today, we find ourselves echoing back to a period of transformation similar to that of 1918. Back then, the machine gun, the tank, the airplane permanently altered the landscape of warfare. It is no coincidence that Sergeant Benning found himself serving in a state-of-the-art machine gun company within the 16th Infantry Regiment, on the cutting edge of that era's transformation. Benning's machine gun squad of 1918 consisted of the French model 1914 Hotchkiss machine gun that weighed 110 pounds with the tripod. The crew included a corporal, 8 privates, a machine gun, 2 machine gun carts, and yes, 2 mules. 2 walking, breathing mules to help out. That's what they were issued back there in World War I. Each infantry brigade, division of American Expeditionary Forces contained specialized machine gun units to be utilized at the decisive point of battle. The parallels between the machine gun companies and what we're doing today with transformation and contact are strikingly similar. Although separated by a century, they nonetheless share a common thread: fielding, testing, learning, and using groundbreaking technology across the battlefield. Today, as we stand at a new chapter in this installation's storied history, let us remember that Sergeant Fred Benning's legacy extends far beyond the battlefields of World War I. It lives on in the thousands of soldiers who train here every year, in the cutting-edge tactics and technologies we develop, and in the unwavering commitment to excellence that defines our every endeavor. As we rededicate this post in his honor, may we all strive to embody the very same tenets he exemplified: unwavering dedication to people, inspirational leadership, a relentless pursuit of transformation. Sergeant Benning's story reminds us of that true heroism is not just defined by rank. It is about that unwavering courage, that selfless service, and an enduring commitment to something greater than ourselves. His legacy will forever inspire us. I thank you all again for being here. I thank you all for being best teammates and for helping us lead Fort Benning into the future. Benning ready, one force, one fight. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the granddaughter of Sergeant Fred G. Benning, Miss Sue Conger-Williams, will give remarks.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for this opportunity to share some cherished memories about my grandpa, Fred G. Benning. My grandpa passed away when I was very young, and I never heard him talk about the war. It was something that just was not shared. So my Fred Benning has a much different story than the one you just heard from Major General Tooley. Sir, I've enjoyed learning more about this part of my grandpa's past during this naming process. I have been able to discover facts like his promotion to sergeant before he was discharged, discovered people who served with him through letters that were left behind. I think I've gained a better understanding of Fred Benning, the soldier. I am grateful for this glimpse into history, and I see some similarities, though, between Fred Benning, the soldier, and Fred Benning, my grandpa. These are integrity, hard work, and a commitment to service. From a very young age, my parents instilled the importance of family traditions. They made sure I spent time with my grandparents, whether it was in their hometown of Neely, Nebraska, or our hometown of Palos Verdes, California. By the time I was born, my grandparents had sold the Benning Bakery after nearly 40 years. This allowed them time to travel and spend time with us in California. I remember our trips to Disneyland, to Marineland, picking up my grandparents at the Amtrak train station, and stopping by Olvera Street in Los Angeles. But I'll never forget one of the times that my dad and grandpa attempted to assemble a metal swing set out in the garage, only to realize that there was no way to get it around to the backyard. This became our family story, recounted with laughter for years to come. And then there were the impromptu tea parties in the backyard with our German short-hair pointer, Gretchen. Tea was actually Kool-Aid, and the dog never sat still, but thank goodness for the pictures that still exist today for this memory. But some of my fondest memories revolve around our summers spent in Neely, Nebraska. As I recall, everywhere we went, people would stop and chat with my grandpa, and this always brought a smile to my face. The 4th of July in Neely was and still is a very major event to this day. I vividly remember my grandparents sitting on their lawn chairs on the courthouse lawn, while I sat on the curb waiting for candy to be thrown by the passing floats. It's a tradition today that still continues and is a testament to the strong sense of community of Neely. One of mine and my grandpa's favorite activities to do together, though, were our fishing trips. We'd start in the carport, we'd gather our fishing poles, tackle boxes, folding chairs, and our trusty green thermos. Grandma would come out and hand me a Crisco tin, and off we'd go to the outskirts of town, just over the first bridge, and I vividly remember sitting up on a pillow so I could see over the dashboard of the 1970 Buick. There, Grandpa would stop the car and say, "Come on, Susie, it's time to get out. We're gonna go dig up our night crawlers." And down the side of the bank I would go with my small shovel in hand, digging in the dirt and mud until my coffee tin was full of night crawlers. Grandpa always stayed at the top of the road to supervise and watch for cars. That's what he told me. I now know a lot better. He just did not want to get dirty. And just maybe, though, when I think back to this memory, he was teaching me a life lesson about the necessities of putting in hard work to get the payoff. Encouraging me to get my hands dirty while digging for worms ensured I was fully and actively engaged in the experience of fishing. The next morning, we'd get up at the crack of dawn and drive to Penn Park, which was just a mile down the road. We'd set up our chairs, and he'd patiently guide me as I had to bait my hook with the worm. And he would attach the red and white bobber to the line, which always was the highlight of fishing. We'd sit and wait in anticipation, and finally the bobber would be pulled beneath the surface and tug on the line, leading to reeling in a really big bluegill. This was pure moments of joy. After we would fill up our fishing bag, we would put it in the trunk and head home to head to the neighbors, where the neighbors would always come out. Everybody would sit in the driveway and start filleting the bluegill. The best part was my grandma was always in the kitchen preparing the beer batter. She would sizzle the fish and frying in Crisco, and you could smell it throughout the house and into the neighbor's driveway. Beyond fishing, our summers were filled with the simple pleasures: walking across our swinging bridge, playing in the park, enjoying homemade ice cream, and sitting at Bernita's local cafe, where he was always involved in conversations about something going on around town. Even our trips to the grocery store turned out to be social events, just full of conversations in every aisle. But my grandpa's impact extended beyond our family, and he was deeply involved in serving the community. He served as the commander of American Legion Post 172 for many years, was president of the Neely Chamber of Commerce, organizing countless fundraising activities. He was appointed to the State of Nebraska Veterans Loan Certifying Committee, and he raised money for our Memorial Hospital Fund. He also served as mayor. While he was mayor, Grandpa served on the local Disaster Relief Committee, which coordinated with the Red Cross to serve 1,200 families during the brutal storms of 1948. He always put others first, which is the epitome of selfless service and the reason I believe he took charge of his men back in 1918. He knew someone had to take care, and he led them to accomplish the mission. Even into his twilight years, Grandpa was still serving others. I remember our Neely Centennial celebration of 1973. There was always a buzz and excitement in the air. Grandpa, and his tireless dedication, was instrumental in organizing festivities and working with various committees to make sure everything was just perfect. Grandma was our event coordinator. She made sure we all had the appropriate outfits. My mom, my grandma, and I all wore our bonnets with our prairie dresses. But I leave you with this final thought. My grandpa, Fred G. Benning, was truly a special man. He was a man of integrity who knew the value of hard work. He lived a life of service, dedicating himself to his family, his country, and his community. He loved helping people, and that's how I will always remember him. He is my hero.
At this time, we invite the family of Sergeant Benning to join the Commanding General, Command Sergeant Major, and Garrison Command Team for the sign unveiling.
Can you say it one more time?
At this time, we invite the family of Sergeant Benning to join the Commanding General, Command Sergeant Major, and Garrison Command Team for the sign unveiling.
Good back there? All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as you are able for the singing of the Army song. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. We thank you for attending. Benning ready, one force, one fight. This will defend.